Hello everyone, welcome to Penelope's Pocket Flosstube, episode number 9. Today is Saturday, the 2nd of August 2025. It is the final of the Lions Rugby Tour of Australia, and that is happening unbeknownst to me. I do sit and watch it actually with my family, but I'm always obviously stitching one team at the same time. I do enjoy it, but not as much as they do. Anyway, so I hadn't realised that it's 11 o'clock today here. So in the room next to us, that way, there could be some noise a bit later because it is now, what time is it now? Oh, 10:30. We've probably got half a quiet hour before it all kicks off. Literally. Bit of a joke. Right, this is my Rifle Paper Company episode. I'll talk about how that came about later, but I'll start off with just a little bit about Rifle Paper Company because I use their fabrics quite a bit, particularly most of my Gertrude bags use Rifle Paper Company fabric. So I did a little bit of research. As a company, it was founded in 2009 by Anna and Nathan Bond, and they were a young married couple at the time, both freelance. I believe Anna was a freelance illustrator and Nathan a freelance musician. They had started off in a very small way, I believe, by Anna designing their own wedding stationery, and I guess friends and family saw how wonderful it was and they started taking orders, and it grew from there into what is now, you know, it's a big company. They're based in Winter Park in Florida. Obviously I'm a UK based person, so these are areas that I'm not familiar with, but I understand that they have a shop, they use the word fulfillment centre, which I guess is what we would call a warehouse, and their home all in the same area. They have a young family. It just sounds wonderful. Anna still does all the painting and the designing of all the all the designs, and so yeah, very much still a personal company. It very much has its own look, doesn't it? So that's the aesthetic of the bags of today's Flosstube. I believe that Anna had a love of stationery from a child, and I thought to myself, actually, me too. I always loved bits of paper, rubbers, rulers, pencils, colouring, folders, files. Yeah, I think maybe when you're young, because I see it in children at school today, you know, they love their pencil cases. You get lots of arguments about, in fact we don't allow pencil cases because it's just too many arguments, yeah, they love all that stuff, don't they? Maybe it's one of those first things that you that's yours, that you choose, that you own, and it's pocket money purchases as well, isn't it? If kids still go out and spend pocket money. Actually teaching them about money at school, I think they possibly don't, but anyway, she always loved stationery and she was a stamp collector, and that's relevant to one of the bags I think that I'm going to show a bit later. I love their aesthetic. It is a very particular look. Years ago, I don't know how many years ago, 2015 maybe, gosh, that's 10 years ago, I bought some of the Periwinkle Blue Alice canvas to make myself a bag with. I should have brought it with me today actually, because I do still use it. It was a bag patterned by Merchant and Mills, and it's got leather straps and brass hardware on it as well. I lined it, and one of the reasons I bought that was because at the time there was a knitting bag maker who was using it to make knitting bags, And no matter how early I got onto her website, I could never get one of those bags. And in the end I thought, well, I'm a sewer, why don't I just make myself one? So that was actually probably, apart from messing around when I was younger, making bags out of fabric scraps when I was very young, that was probably the very first bag that I made. But it's more of a sort of a hold all shopping bag. I use it sort of like a big handbag if we go out. Or anyway, I do still use it. It's hanging up in the hallway. Probably should have brought it with me. Maybe I'll show it another time. Anyway, so that's a little bit about Rifle Paper Company. I have, what am I drinking? I've got a coffee, which I've already started actually, and I've got a Rifle Paper Company mug, which is rather lovely. Upstairs actually I've got some fabric that uses this book print. I haven't used it in any of the bags today, but that's so that's my mug. What am I wearing? Well, I tell you what I thought I might be wearing, but I'm not, because, well, greatest plans and all the rest of it. I thought I might be wearing some Rifle Paper Company because they make dress fabric as well, and I happen to remember that I had this piece. I think it's called Hydrangea. It's quite a fine cotton lawn in this really soft powdery blue colour. I see this on the stationery as well. I don't think I've seen it on the quilting cotton, but you know, things come and go, don't they? And I had in mind, because I know that I can make them, I know that they fit, to make an assembly line cuff top. I've shown that pattern before. It's a great pattern. I know I can make one of those. But yeah, I've just run out of time, basically. Not enough time in the day to do everything that you want to do. And I know I've talked about my dressmaking plans before and they haven't happened. So I can't guarantee this one will happen, but I'm thinking that I would quite like to make this like now. But then when I was looking for that pattern to show you, I found that one, which is also an assembly line pattern. And I have made that one before as well. And this is quite wide, this fabric. So I think that might take a little bit more than that. Anyway, I'll decide. So that's what I had been planning to wear for my Rifle Paper Company themed episode. Well, sort of themed episode, but it hasn't happened. So there we go on that one. What I'm actually wearing is a knit from, I think possibly more than 30 years ago. This is by a designer called Patricia Roberts, and if you're a knitter of a certain age and you're English, you probably will have heard of her. She's just the most fabulous designer. And when I was working at Liberty, I think I've mentioned before, I had friends that worked in the haberdashery in the knitting yarn department. They sold Patricia Roberts yarn in Liberty knitting yarn department. That's how I got to know about her, because coming from down in Dorset, she wasn't on my radar, but in London she very much was so. And one of my close friends in the haberdashery department actually was quite friendly with her. So I have made a lot of her patterns back in that time. This is what I would class as complex knitting. These are some of the most complicated things that I've knitted her things, because not only have you got a lot of intarsia going on there, you've got background texture, and we're talking about the 90s here. You've got the size as well. We're not talking fitted garments, we're talking, you know, 90s oversized stuff. I walked in at the beginning actually. I don't know if I'll keep that bit when I put this out, but that was to show you the back. Maybe I should stand up in case it ends up coming out, because it is, can we see that? I don't know if you can see. It is stunning. I mean, it's gone through a period of time of being quite a dated garment, but you never get rid of something that you've put this much work into. And I was thinking that I might actually do a Patricia Roberts episode, because I actually have a lot of her things I knitted at around about the same time as this. So right, let's crack on. Just to say that I've got a lot to share, but as you know, if you watch me regularly, I don't segment things up. To me, everything that I'm going to show sort of flows because it's the way that my brain works. So I have whips, plans, purchases, finishes, previous finishes, what else have I got? Yeah, all intermingled. So there's no fast forwarding basically. Well, I mean, there is, but you know what I mean. Okay, so as we've been talking about Rifle Paper Company, and that's really the bag update, I thought we'd start off with the bag update today. So first up, Gertrude bags. The Gertrude bag is popular, which is lovely. So number one coming, and they're basically all Rifle Paper Company. So it came about because I had promised some extra Alice Gertrude bags, and that got me rummaging, and I've been sat on some of these fabrics for quite a long time. I shouldn't be. I should be making them, selling them, using them, whatever. So here we go. So this is a Gertrude bag. It is definitely Christmas, or what have I called it? December post. And going back to what I said at the beginning about Anna being a stamp collector as a child, I thought, oh, that's like that fabric, because basically they are stamps. And I noticed that it says Florida on it as well, which I mean, I didn't even know they were based in Florida. Actually, a lovely friend, Instagram friend, Jenny, who lives in Florida, did tell me, I didn't confirm this because it's not information that I found out, but I believe she knows. The word rifle is as in to rummage. So rifling around for things, not guns. Okay. So that's Gertrude. She's a Christmassy one. I don't have a Christmas Gertrude bag. One of these could well be staying with me. It has a super smart lining, which has a gold stripe. Oh, and that I use a stamp to mark my bags. It's a special ink that when you heat it, when I iron it at a hot temperature, it sets the ink. Obviously I can't stamp this, it's too dark, so sometimes I do that type of thing, and this is a case in point that I find that it's very much an aesthetic. They sort of work together. It's sort of like a complete look, and the colours all work together. So funnily enough, I think that is a scrap from the lining of my current Gertrude bag that I'm using, which is a peachy colour, and it is exactly the same colour as this, and yet they're probably years apart in manufacture and even design. So there's a commonality in the design and the colours, which yeah, it's great. I love it. It means that I can play around using different prints. Anyway, I'm taking too long. I wanted to go through this quickly. So this is a new one. That's a new one. I've never done that one before. This is also a new one. Oh, look at those colours. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? Is it called Les Fleurs, I think? This is a very old print. That's a very dark navy background, and it has that. Oh yeah, look at the gold. There's a lot of gold highlights, like a gold highlight. Has that lining. So that's that one. Oh, so smart. Yes, that's that one. And then the two Alices. So I've had to change the lining on the Alice bags. I still need to change the photo on the website actually. So on the periwinkle one, I've shown these before, I'm just going to do that quickly. It now has that lining, which is a great match. And on the navy one, now this is tricky because I think I call her French Navy Alice because it's a very, very dark navy. And I couldn't find a dark navy like I've used in the past. So I've used that one, more of that. And it works because of that commonality with the colour that I've mentioned before, and this this fabulous rosebud motif is there as well. So for me that works, and for me that works so well that this one is my one, so I'm keeping that one. I'm not going to use it at the moment, but like I say, I've got a piece in the periwinkle blue that I made years ago. You know, maybe there will be a time when you can't get this anymore, and so I wanted to make sure that I don't not have one myself. I have more of all of those fabrics, so when they sell out it will say not currently available, and I will make some more, so there are more of those to come. Right, now for the bags. Okay, this is one that I've done before and I hadn't used all the fabric. So this one is called Garden Fate, and it is a Caroline bag. I think in the picture on the website it has a pink tassel. I don't have any more of that yarn anymore, so now it has a green tassel. And I had some of this. Now this I have been sat on for a long time. I made Erica bags out of this at the beginning of Penelope's Pocket, and I've been sitting on the fabric that was left over since then, so time to use this up. So here is a periwinkle blue quilting cotton, so she's tiny little Alice, and that is a Caroline bag because basically that's all that I could get out of the piece of fabric I had left. Didn't have much of that fabric, and she's got a little creamy coloured tassel. She matches her big sister Gertrude perfectly. It's the same colour blue. Now I had a bigger piece of this navy Alice. So of the navy Alice I have both a Caroline bag with this. I use this. This is a Rifle Paper Company fabric, and I use that quite a bit, that fabric, because it's got the gold and it goes with, well, it goes with everything. Like I said, there's a commonality there. And I had a bigger piece of that. So of the navy one I also have some Dorothy bags, and this one is lined with a plain, which I've never done before. Never done a plain lining, but it's a plain pink. I picked the pink because I thought it went with the lining nicely of the big Gertrude bag, but I will point out to you that she is not what I would call a French navy. Pick up this one. So she's paler, look, just to point that out. I'm being very good, not keeping one of these, one of either of them, so I've got as many to sell as I've got. There we go. That's that one. And one more. This is a Christmassy one, I suppose, because it's blowing out a bit. That's a Nutcracker fabric. I've shared this on Instagram. The printing is just beautiful on it. So detailed. There are little cakes and little gingerbread men where the quality of the printing is just fabulous. And it has, I can't even remember, oh yeah, it's got that gold lining, look. There we go. So that's those. So they'll be on the website now. There are obviously floss drops, thread keeps. There's Alice. Let me find you, Alice. Right, now there is Alice in navy and periwinkle. I do not have much of this fabric. I think I can, but ironically, because I had a smaller piece of this, I can make more of these than I can of these. I cannot probably make one for every bag, so that'll be first come first served on those. If you buy a navy one, you might get one of those, or you might get one of those. Or actually, I tell you what I could do. I could do the Cheshire Cat. He would make a great thread keep. And you can always just contact me, email me, if you have a preference. I could easily make a Cheshire Cat actually, because I think I've got plenty of that fabric left. There's a lovely one to go with Garden Fate, that one, and I've made that one. It's not going to show very well, is it? No, that's just using that gold bit of fabric. I think I've said this before, but I don't mind repeating myself. I find it really useful having my threads on a matching thread keep, because I steal them sometimes from one project, or sometimes I'm working on more than one thing at a time and I'm a bit untidy and I leave it out, and I can identify them really easily because obviously I know which bag it's come from because of the thread keep. So so that's a win for me, having a matching one. If you don't like Rifle Paper Company, I do still have a couple of strawberry bags. I love this one, Christmas Kitties. Still got a couple of those. He's so cute. There we go. Still got a couple of those. And it's very unusual for me not to use all Rifle Paper Company, but this is not Rifle Paper Company. Look, I love this one. It makes me smile. It's a bit like that fish that makes me smile. He's got fab lining. He just looks shifty. Looks like he's been up to no good to me. So I've still got some of those as well. So I just point that out because things sell out so quickly that I'm sure you probably look at the website and think, well, there isn't anything, but there are a couple of things there. One more thing for Penelope's Pocket before I move on to the fun stuff. I found another quilt, and I really wanted to make a couple of Isabel bags, because I haven't had any Isabel bags in stock now for a while, before tomorrow, but I haven't, and I might do a health update at the end and I'll talk about other things that I've been up to. But I'll show you the quilt because it's gorgeous. So that's the new quilt that very old quilt that I have sourced. You can see there the patches on it, and I have a really lovely lining lined up in that blue colour. But I wanted to show it to you because you will not believe the reverse side of this quilt. The reverse side of this quilt, because this is, well, that's what I would call the, really lovely side. The reverse side is totally wild. That is the reverse side. How wild is that? So it is very worn. I've noticed in places, because I'm showing it to you now and you're probably thinking, why is she cutting that up? It looks lovely. But it is very worn in places. There are a couple of holes that you can see straight through. Oh, look, that's a great patch there, look. Just a completely different coloured one. So yes, so that could well be the first thing that and one of the reasons that I didn't, yeah, it looks great. Oh, look at that. One of the reasons I didn't get onto it was that I do enjoy playing. Colour is very much my thing. I love colour, and I wanted to get some ties for the top that really worked, and none of the cordy bits that I have worked, so I need to source another colour. Right, chuck that tape outside. So let's get cracking on the fun stuff. Let me just check what I'm up to now. Oh, that's some of my coffee. I've got a coffee. Did I say that? I've got a coffee. Okay, we're going to do what's in the bag, and there's quite a lot in the bag to talk about, so let's start off with that. It's heavy, there's a lot in here. So this is the one that I'm using at the moment. This is a Mediterranean Summer Gertrude bag from a couple of years ago. I think I said before, I don't have this fabric anymore. I don't know if you can get it, but that's the lining of this one, which I showed that I'd cut up to do my stamp on the other one. Right, we'll start going through what's in here. I've got some knitting actually, and having said that I don't really knit more than one thing at a time, I have done something different. So in this bag, which is not a knitting bag at all but a shoe bag, and this is how crazy my knitting pile has got, I haven't got any project bags left. That's not a good sign, Sarah. Anyway, I have cast on and made a Parnasia shawl by Teti Lutzak, and I'm sorry if I have mispronounced her name. This one here, it's I think it's to go with the jumper. I'd watched her, she has a, it wouldn't be called Flosstube, would it? Anyway, a YouTube channel, and I watched it and I saw this and I thought, because I'd enjoyed knitting that little tiny Sophie shawl, well, it's really not really a shawl, it's like more like a scarf, and found it very wearable. So I have made myself a different one, and there it is. I haven't even tried it on. How's it going to go? Well, that's not quite right, is it? But there. Yeah, fun. I like it. So wearable, actually. Quite like these little tiny ones. I've got masses of really massive shawls. So I used for this lots of words I can't pronounce. I pronounce it in my head as biches and bouches. How you actually say it, I don't know. It's obviously French. We all know French is not my thing. It's blowing out, you can't see. It is Le Gros silk and mohair, 28% mulberry silk and 72% super kid mohair. So it's quite a, it's not, you know, it's quite thick. I bought it in the sale at Loop some time ago. I think it was reduced to possibly about £13 a ball. So £13 and a lot of fun. Really enjoyed knitting it. This one is for me. I think it was called, well, actually I've got the ball band. It's not discontinued or anything. This one is called Soft Green Grey. Doesn't really, yeah, I suppose it is soft green grey. I also bought one in this one I think is called soft beige grey. They're looking very similar there. It's definitely more beige in real life. And this one is called dark gold. So this one is for me, and I'm going to make one for each of my daughters for their birthdays, which are coming up. I use straight needles, which I don't use very much anymore actually, and I used the called for in the pattern, which was 4mm straight needles. It knitted out in a few days because it really is, well, it's just a few stitches, isn't it? I can't remember how many it was. I probably should have used a bigger needle size because I am I'm not a tight knitter. I like a tight gauge. I don't like sloppy knitting. So the big version, there are 3 versions of this, and the version size depends on how many of these you knit, and the big one you knit 5, but I actually made 6 of those repeats, and you can see it's still not that long on me. But that's, you know, that's fine. This is what I had left, me and leftovers. Not a lot really. So so some birthday presents will be on the way there. I don't think they watch, but anyway, if they do they'll know. So that's a start and a finish. Right, stitching. This is in here. This is the Modern Folk Embroidery Quintessential Frisian Smalls Stitch Along. Started on the 1st of August, and as I said, it's now the 2nd. I haven't chosen my fabric yet. I think it's 1 a month, and the first one is I'll just show you through the bag. first one is that one. It's very doable. I don't need to start it straight away. I need to sort out a nice fabric first, which I thought was going to be easy actually, and I got one out because I think I said, well, it's just red, isn't it? It'll go on anything. But actually, the one that I got out, it didn't look nice on, so I need to give it a bit more thought. I believe there's a Facebook group showing this, talking about techniques and everything. I am not on Facebook. I've never been on Facebook. I have no intention of joining Facebook, so I have no idea what's going on with the stitch along. I should just have to do my own thing. I've got the book, which I've been enjoying looking at. There's loads of information in the book, and I will obviously, I'm sure lots of you out there are doing it. I'll probably see things on Instagram, and that'll all be very nice. But I will, I should definitely have done that first one by the time I see you next. But it's in there, it hasn't been touched. Okay. Oh, another sal. I've never done a sal before, and suddenly I have two. So this is the Sew Idea Black Rooster Summer Sale, which came out today, didn't it, the next part? Yes. But apart from today's, because obviously I'm doing this, I am up to date with this one. It's really, really doable. Just a couple of nights for each bit. And here's where I am with this one. Enjoying the element of surprise. I wouldn't normally choose to do something that I don't know what it's going to turn out like, but it's DMC, it's obviously very generously free. This is the offcut from Martha Pudsey, so very little money invested, and the parts have been very doable. I think, you know, half of the alphabet 1 week, other half, was it the other half? And then this bit in the middle here has been the bit that I've just done. So it's all very doable and very enjoyable. I thought about putting my own initials in here, which is the sort of thing that I might normally do, but because I don't know where it's going, I decided to just do it as it is. That looks nice, doesn't it? That piece of fabric is 40 count antique lace by Seraphim, and the called for DMC. $18.11. So so that's very enjoyable and very doable. It's not too late to join in, I'm sure. I guess it will become a page pattern eventually. I'm stitching it off of my laptop, so I don't think I've even downloaded it and stored it, so it's just stitching it off my laptop, which I see a lot of people that I watch use devices for stitching. I don't like it. It doesn't work for me. It seems to be not the way my brain works, and I found it quite difficult, particularly with that motif that we've just done, because it was on the join of the page. That's not how my brain can't cope with that. So that was quite tricky. The only advantage with having the laptop was that you can expand it. I'm looking very dark. It's very dark outside. I hope you're able to see everything okay. Right, next. This has found its way in there. This is a bag from a while ago. I like mice. Love that fabric. Autumn mice. No tassel. There's no reason why I don't have tassel other than the fact that I just run out of time and end up not making things for myself. So I was watching Caroline's Corner. Caroline is a UK stitcher of many years, and I really enjoy watching her because some of her projects are as ancient as some of my knitting is, and stuff that I would know nothing about, because that was not my, I wasn't stitching things like that back then. I did sew and I did do cross stitch, mainly tapestry actually, back in the time that she's talking about starting some of her projects. But the sort of cross stitching that she's done was not on my radar, and I love seeing these really old pieces that she's working on. And in her latest edition she showed a Huswif, and it was so beautiful. This is nothing like that, but when she showed it I thought of this and I thought I must get that out. I've never shown this here before. I have shown it on Instagram. This is Pastoral Pocket by the Drawn Thread. And so seeing Caroline's finish, I mean, this will be nothing like that, but it did make me think, oh, I feel like getting that out. And now obviously that's upside down, that is the right way there. I do like the Drawn Thread. There are speciality stitches, aren't there, going on there, some of which I've done quite well and some of which I haven't, but never mind. This is a piece of XJU design linen. It's 32 count. I think it's called Aged Grapefruit. I think it might be blowing out a bit there. I had quite a few dinky dyes because I stitched Sarah Barker by Needlework Press. I don't think I've shown that here. And that all used dinky dyes, so I had some left over, and then I bought a couple more. And then from Chris at the Nimble Thimble, because I know she sells things kitted, I did get the accessory pack. Now, where is it? There. So can't really see it very well. The accessory pack with these, I expect they're faux bone, whatever, rings for threads, a button, and some tiny weeny little buttons as well. So I did manage to get that from her, but my threads are, well, you can see they are dinky dyes from previous projects, and my own. I'm obviously using some cottons as well. I didn't use that black. I think I used, was that DMC 3371, the very dark brown DMC. I put that in, decided it was far too black, and changed it out. That was for the, I think it was the ladybird. The ladybird here, her legs, her face, her head, and for the butterfly's body here. The black was just too stark. I started this September 1st, 2024 for a sampler September start, because that's when I was an inpatient in hospital and I happened to have this with me. It wasn't started at the time, but I was looking at Instagram and everybody was talking about their sampler September starts, and I thought I would like to start something. I haven't shown the pattern, have I? Because it is actually a sampler as well as the pocket. So elements of this obviously stitched upside down so that you can fold and create your pocket at the back. So I started it in hospital, and beginning of September, and it was around that time later in September, October, November, that I ended up in intensive care. This is the first project that I picked up when they wheeled me back to my room. and I have really strong memories because I need to stitch. You get it, don't you? I need to do it. I have really strong memories of getting back to my room, and I like to be up and dressed, and I've been in intensive care for so long, I couldn't wait to get dressed. And picking this project up, because it is 32 counts, I can see it, and stitching on it, and actually my hands shaking because I couldn't hold the needle still enough to make those stitches, but I did, because that's what stitching does for us. It's so important for me at that time. Actually, I'm getting a bit emotional, which is a bit silly, but yeah, I want to pick this up again. I want to get some happier memories into it now I'm coming out the other side of all these things. But I do remember, you know, doing that grass along the bottom there, which is fairly, I wouldn't have done any speciality stitches, but yeah. So thank you to Caroline for reminding me about that. I had a rummage, found it, got it out, and definitely, that will definitely be something that we'll see a bit of progress on next time, because I'm going to have a go at doing some of that. I might even make a tassel for my bag. Yeah, sorry about the light, I can see it's dark behind me, but hopefully you can see what I'm showing all right. Next. Well, this is another one that has illness memories, but not in a bad way, this one in a nice way, because this is my very wonderful Stitchy Kindness from Trisha. So I've been working on this because since I last saw you, it's been Stitch Strawberries for Wimbledon, hasn't it? And I think I showed this and I said that, well, let's see, tell you who it is. Sarah Pugh, 1822. My lovely rhyming one. And I said that I'd noticed it was a strawberry border and that I'd finished the border while I was stitching Strawberries for Wimbledon, so that is what I have done. So here she is. So I feel like I'm repeating myself. Look at the colour of those strawberries. They are gorgeous coloured strawberries. There's a lot of over one in here, so as I said before, I tend to do a thread of over two and a thread of over one. So I have got all the strawberries in apart from little teeny weeny over one up here, and Sarah has made a bit of a mistake here, so the strawberry doesn't really fit on there, and there's an alphabet coming in along here. Let me show you. So I've just held back off of that one because I might do something about that. And there's the pattern. So up in this top corner you can see the alphabet touches here. So yeah, I've done quite a lot of the over one down the bottom. I hope it's in focus. Oh, it's going dark. Better. I mean, this flower here is gorgeous. I actually didn't want to stop because I wanted to see what it looked like. You can see I haven't quite got all the flower bases. There's 5 flowers along the bottom, so I haven't done the base of this one, but they repeat across. I think this one is repeated here. So there's a lot still to do because he took quite a long time. I don't know how close I can get it. And yeah, is that any good? Gorgeous. So this is lovely, and I am really enjoying working on this, and I will, even though I've now finished the border, I will keep going with this. This is another one that I started in hospital, and I'm so much further along my journey now, but I still want to be working on it because this is the one where I'm going to change the wordings. I've said what I'm going to put in before, and so it's important to me that I'm working on it now while it's all happening, and I have the support of my friends and my family. Yeah, so done some on that one. lots of other charts in here as well that Tricia sent me that I'm also keen to start. Right, while we're talking about strawberries, here's my strawberry bag. Now this is probably what I worked on first after I'd seen you last time, so I can barely remember what's in here myself. God, it really has got dark. Anyway, hopefully you can see the stitching, that's what's important. Let me remind myself what's in here. Yes, so this was the another rubbish one of it. This was the Gerda Bengtsson book that I showed that I've been wanting to do for some of these for a long time, and it had the strawberry. So I did it. So it's a start and a finish, and it's really gorgeous. And it's covered in thread. Wait a minute. Love it, actually. Here it is. Getting closer to the cameras. So it lists all the Danish flower threads and the DMC alternative. Obviously I'm using DMC. I didn't have all of the called for ones, so I looked up, there's a website, I just Google Cody Hoover DMC, yes, and if you put in the DMC colour, it can come up with alternatives that are similar, because it's not always the adjacent number that's similar. Sometimes it can be a completely different number that's similar. So I might have used that for maybe one or two, because there's quite a lot of colours in it actually. Can I get that close enough? Can you see? I hope so. Very overcast out there today. We've had a lot of rain actually, after it being so hot and dry, hosepipe bans and water shortages. We have had rain, like torrential monsoon type rain, for days now. I'm ready for some more sun. So there's my strawberries, and I stitched that. I was definitely working on that during the not during the men's final. But anyway, I was watching Wimbledon when I was working on that. Now, it's not finished. I'm not very good at fully finishing things. But while I was working on it, I noticed on the next page along, there's a pattern for Sweet Violet. When I did my strawberry episode, I mentioned that these grow like weeds in my garden. In fact, I've been pulling them up recently. I was out there pulling them up because they've been growing. Sweet Violet is another thing that grows like a weed in my garden, and I think actually they do grow together they do grow together. They like the conditions in my garden, and they do grow together. And right on this page here, which is actually the same page, there is very slightly bigger than this, but a Sweet Violet pattern, and so I'm thinking that I would like to stitch that one as well, because I have another piece there, and then I'll have a pair of what, I don't know. Either maybe a pair of flat finishes. I don't think that they necessarily make pillows. That piece of fabric is 36 count Doily Madison by Needle and Flax. But I'm very pleased with that actually, and I enjoy it. It's just a very old printed book. I could give you a flash. So quite difficult to see those symbols. But yeah, all on one page, no lines to cross. Quite a bit of over one, actually suiting me. Over one way and over two the other, which is something I'm expert at anyway, which you know from my Parrot Leopard Lion. So that's a finish basically. And it's tucked inside there because I'm going to do that violet one. Is it on the front cover? No, it's not on the front cover. But I googled her designs, and I came across a company in this country that sell kits, and I've seen a kit that I really, really like, but I haven't bought it yet, but I might. I can't remember what it's called now. Is it called Lady's Mantle? yeah. And it comes kitted, presumably, with the Danish flower threads, which I've never used before, and it is a cushion size, as in a proper cushion, and it's very green. There's a lot of lime green in this room. I've got edging of lime green on my curtains over there, so I could see it. Yeah, that could be in my future, and I even might have sourced a project bag fabric for it, so that's how close in my future it might be. Right, now also in here is the, I believe, sewing set by Teresa Baird, which I shared details of and told you how to get. And I did stitch a piece of this. Is it on here? Yes, it is on here. So I stitched the strawberry, and there it is. Really like the checkerboard. And I did change it because this is from 2020, from the pandemic, and so the actual strawberry itself, where is it here? It was dated 2020. I had Teresa put her initials on the bottom here. I didn't want to date it with a huge great big date like that, and so I didn't. I did my little initials and the year, and obviously when it's made into a strawberry they'll be around the back. I changed the chart a bit as well. What did I do? Yeah, oh yeah, I did an outline. Okay, so she has backstitched black outline around the bee's wings and the strawberry flowers. Oh, so dark, sorry. Can go better. I don't need to, because this fabric, I think this is called Birdcage by XJU Designs. I don't need to, it shows up on this fabric. And also I changed some of the stitches on the wings, so because people use backstitch, don't they, to create a better line. So I just changed what were full crosses for a little over one corner piece. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to, I don't think you'll see that, but like on the wings here, focus maybe if I get rid of me. So there are little over one stitches to get that curve on the wing. I think I shortened his antennae as well, which I felt were too long. And he also had a big sting coming out of the tail, which I didn't like. So I took that off, but I didn't want my bees to be stinging, so I didn't put that in. So there we go, there's that bit. So lots more fabric left over there on there. I am going to stitch this piece next. So this is the needle book, but it's more than a needle book actually, because I think it's got a pocket and stuff in it as well, because that's a scissor fob for a pair of scissors that sit in the back of the book. That's the back of the book. I love that checkerboard, so this I'm definitely going to do. I'm not sure that I will do anything else, but I definitely want to do this, which is why it's still in here. There's quite a bit of stitching there and quite a bit of fancy finishing, I think. Don't have finishing instructions in here. I'm hoping that I will find the finishing instructions somewhere of how to finish that off. But loads of fabric left to be able to do that piece. So that was also, that is what I was stitching actually during the men's final of Wimbledon. So that is my stitch strawberries for Wimbledon bag. But I'll continue with that, I think. Finishing my threads. And they're my own, I think they're my own threads. Yeah, those ones must have been for the Gerda Bankston piece, the DMC ones, and the silk ones. Yeah, it's all stitched in silk, the bee leaf. For that, and then little strawberry thread keep. Right, what else have we got in here? Aha. I spent quite a bit of time on this again, and actually I feel like getting back to it. I think because it's been a month since I last did an episode. I did quite a lot on this for the last episode, and then I put it down and I felt ready to pick it up again. I spent quite a few days on this after I finished filming the last episode, and I haven't touched it for quite a long time, and I actually really didn't feel like picking it up again. I'll show you where I am with it. So, I think when I showed you last time, I had said that I wanted to finish filling in this motif here, but that it was just too much stitching and I hadn't managed it. And it did actually take me quite a long time to finish it this time round, but that motif is now finished, which I've done since you last saw it. I have now finished this flower. And I've progressed the bottom fill-in quite a bit as well. I think I've done, oh, I've done it all. I think so. I think all of the bottom fill-in is done, apart from this is all one colour. This whole area is one colour. I also started doing the filling in the tree here since you last saw it. And sometimes I had a little bit of thread left over, so I did a little tiny bit of fill in here, tiny. I don't, because I stitch in hand, I work from this side to this side, because otherwise I'm holding this as I'm stitching, so I don't like it to be too thick. So I prefer being over this side. Oh, and I, before I put it down, I just wanted to join it up. Make those joins, make sure that they work. So that's where I am with that. Gosh, I do love it. Let me talk a bit about the pattern. So I bought this. Somebody asked me. So I can't remember who asked me, but I know we've been chatting about it. It would come to me if I thought about it. Anyway, I bought this pattern in 2019. I looked it up. It was I only got back to stitching in 2019, so this is one of the very first things that I bought. Somebody must have shown it on Instagram and I found out about it, and I bought it from a company called Y Needleworks, I think it was called. I don't think they exist anymore, and they sold Scarlet letter patterns as kits that you could order. I didn't really know anything about things back then. I just knew that I absolutely loved this and I wanted it hanging on my wall all those years ago, still do. So I bought it as a kit from a UK company that doesn't seem to exist anymore, kitted with this piece of fabric and the DMC. I think you could buy it. It's charted for MPIs, isn't it? I think you could buy it with the MPIs, but obviously that was before I knew how lovely it was to stitch with silk, and it was very expensive, so that was out of the question. So a lot of people stitch these on different sorts of fabrics, don't they, over one. I am stitching this 2 threads over 2 threads on 35 count fabric, and I know that because that's what it says on the inside, and that's not me that's done that, so that must have been the supplier, and that's what I must have ordered. But there were lots of options, look, so you could do over 1 on 25 count, over 2 on 25 count, and all the different counts. So it was a kit. This kit includes 35 count linen, embroidery, flosses, silk or cotton, 33 colours, the graph, the instructions, the diagrams, the needle. Did it come with a needle? And a colour photo of the finished picture, which I guess is on the front. So yes, I am stitching this 2 threads of DMC over 2, not necessarily 2, sometimes 2 by 1 or 1 by 2 or 1 by 1 because of my mistakes that I've talked about in the past, on the linen. I don't know, has it got a selvage? Yeah, it's Zygarde. Look, it's got an orange. If it's got an orange thread through the selvage like that, I think that's what indicates that it's a Zygarde fabric. So if it's Zygarde, it's probably just cream or something. I've had problems because DMC is not necessarily completely accurate conversion of NPI. So some of my colours are really too close, in my opinion. So like in this flower here, there are actually, I think there are 4 blues in there. I don't know if you can see there. But the 2 in the middle, the 2 pale ones in the middle, are so close together in colour that I don't know if it's worth even having bothered changing the colour. They're too close. It doesn't really matter there. I mean, that's still a great flower, but it does matter in some places. So there are 2 browns. They happened in this flower actually. Yeah, I think the brown of that leaf, the brown that's in that leaf, is a different brown to the background that I'm starting to fill in there, but in reality they look the same. And the same here. So this brown here is a different brown to the brown that's going to be next to it, but in reality they're really similar. And that happened in this flower. So those 2 browns there were different, and I actually can't. It is more obvious in real life, and probably better lighting. So I've changed some of the colours. Basically, that's what I'm saying. I've changed one of the browns here, and one of the greens here was a symbol on the chart, but not on the thread legend. So there's a symbol on the chart that doesn't appear on the thread legend. So I found one, and I found one from my stash, not one that I bought. I just picked a different one, so that there are different greens in here. How many greens are there? I don't know if there's 2 or 3. I think there are 3 greens in there. Great, isn't it? Look how the when I showed it last time, that pink was really in your face, bright. It's really, putting the colours in has really, it's still bright, still, you know, I like bright colours, but it's done something, hasn't it? It's really lovely. So back to this, and I'm going to do this bit next. I want to get that in, at least the outline of that in, and maybe some of the colour before I put it away this time round. So I hope that's enough information about that to clarify what I'm doing. So I think you don't really get Scarlet letter charts in the, you know, a good variety. I get them from 1, 2, 3 Stitch. I've got a few Scarlet letter. I really like old really old things like this. So yeah, I've got a few of their charts, her charts. So that's that. I think there's one left. Oh, it's my knitting book, because I have been knitting. Actually, that's a cord cutting. I'm just going to put my finger forward because I'm just going to switch it off. There we go. I've got my knitting book. I've got my book of days. We're on a new month, aren't we? So I'll show you my stickered up August with Rifle Paper Company stickers. And what did I do last night? Oh yeah, what I'm just about to show you. Okay. Okay, so in my lovely Sajou bag, I have Finish. I have shared it on Instagram, and it is Lily. There she is. Another one I had a few problems with, actually. I had problems with Lily, didn't I, Lily? Because I couldn't get her spots to show. So she has spotty legs. Is it in focus? She's got spots on her legs, just like a frog would have, spots on her shoulders, and she's got spots on her face. Oh, there we go. And they just didn't show. And they didn't show in many different colours that I tried. And I tried quite a few. So in the end, what did I do in the end? Because I'm a bit lazy, I think I grabbed the bag that Martha Pudsey was in, and I picked out a brown, a reddy brown NPI from Martha Pudsey. Sorry everybody. You might be able to see, I can't see that there. And I went over the pale coloured spots that I put in that weren't showing up. I went over the top with a strand of the brown NPI, and it works. I can see them here. It works because obviously NPI is quite a thin thread, but it's over the top of something else, and it's silk, so it has a little bit of a sheen to it. And there she is. And again, I've shown it on Instagram. I'm probably not going to be able to find it in here, but I've made her. It's so tiny. Here it is. I made her a handbag, which I've just picked up and dropped back in the bag. Here we go. That was caught on a thread. Hold on. I made her a handbag. Just a little bit of hand sewing, because she looks like she needs a handbag. And so I went upstairs and I was looking for a piece of fabric that would work for her. I mean, obviously she is tiny. It needs to be tiny. Ooh. And that is a little frog printed on there. It was a fabric that I made some bags out of a while ago. And a little tiny button. It's not actually the teeny tiny one that I showed last time. I nearly took that out of my collar box, but then I couldn't bring myself to do it. But it is a little tiny vintage mother of pearl button. And then on the back, well, you know, I'm sorry, but it's upside down because of the way I made it. But I'll be honest with you, don't tell anyone. I just folded it. I stitched it all by hand, but she'll hold it somehow. And I made a little miniature cord handle, and somehow I will stitch it on her. I don't know how I'm going to attach it, but somehow it's going to be attached to her. So, you know, like Sarah, no excuses. You have got to fully finish this now, and I've got to fully finish Paisley and I'm going to knit her a handbag, so they're going to have matching handbags. I shared a photograph on Instagram of a pair of comedy characters from, well, 1980s, I suppose. Yeah, on British television. That these animal crackers do put me in mind of, which is where I got the idea for the handbag from, because these characters, if you know them, always had a handbag, clutching hold of their handbags and gossiping. Yeah. And I can't for the life of me, what are they called? Ada and Les Dawson and, oh, brain's gone. I shared a picture. I could have ruined animal crackers for some people, because somebody commented, oh my goodness, I'm never going to look at them in the same way again. Because I've also done Henrietta, she's up there, and I'm thinking, yeah, she's got that look about her as well. Maybe they all need handbags. Just sat gossiping together. Anyway, so Lily's got her handbag, and I really must finish. She's still in here because I'm going to back her with linen, and I didn't do it on that one, I can't show you, but on Whitaker, on the back, I overwonned my initials and the year, so I need to get some interfacing on, do my initials, cut it out and get my initials on there, because I'm not quite sure where to put them until I've cut round. Anyway, that's my excuse for not having fully finished her yet, but I absolutely must. I'm going to the Stitch Chili Day at the Stitchy Sisters it's October, isn't it? Which is fast approaching, so and I think it said, if you've got animal crackers, bring them along. Can't take that, can I? So got to finish. So that's a finish, on the way to a fully finish with her miniature handbag, and still in here, and still with all the threads, because I like unkitting things. Actually, it's a good feeling when you put things away, but I decided I wouldn't put them away just yet, because I'm going to do that little bit of over one on the back. Okay, so also in here is a new start. Now, last time I talked about my piece of mason linen that I had won as a giveaway from Katie Strachan, and I talked about having bought some Roxy Flossco threads, and that I had a pattern in mind, in the back of my mind, that I described very badly with completely the wrong name. And I was contacted through Instagram by a friend, an Instagram friend, Alison, who said to me, I think you're talking about this pattern. I have it, and I'm very happy to lend it to you. Would you like to borrow it? So lovely kindness. I was terribly excited, and she is a genius, because she knew exactly what I was talking about, even though I didn't know myself. So she has very kindly lent me a daily reminder, which is a Brenda Jet, and a lot of UK Flosstubers will tell you that it's very difficult for us to get Brenda Jet patterns in the UK. She did buy this in the UK, and I have seen it on somebody's website, probably Peakside Needlework's website, but it's not, it's not in stock. You can't get it anymore, or at the moment, I don't know which. And so Alison said, I'm very happy to lend it to you. I must have been lucky to pick it up when I did. I'm not going to stitch it just yet, so take your time. So I started it, and I'll show it to you, because here I am. Okay. I don't know how good the microphone is on my phone, but that is my tummy rumbling horrifically, and yes, there might be a health update at the end. I might explain why that is, but anyway, at the moment, hopefully you can't hear it, it's just me, that's where I am. Now I am loving it, actually, because I have never done anything quite like this before. I have changed all of the colours and I'm making it totally my own. So there are none of the colourful colours going on here at all. I am using, and it's got its own ring, my Roxy Flosco threads that I bought. I'm not going to tell you what they are because they were all in a sales section, because they're all presumably discontinued or one-off colours. So I mean, I could tell you that's called What Incarnation, but unless you've already got it, you know, you can't. Anyway, who would want to copy this? It's going to be wild, I think. So I have been I love stitching, as I said. It soothes me. I do love it, but I love having the things in my house. I always have an idea of where I want to put them and everything. So I decided that I wanted to stitch this to go. This room is decorated the most brightly in the house, which is ironic really, because it's so dark in here today. But I have a lot of bright colours in this room. I said my curtains are lime green and very bright fuchsia pink. So there's quite a lot of bright colours in here. And this is an artwork that I have on the wall over here. I've had for some time. There's going to be glare, isn't there, of my garden. So this is by a British artist called Susan Williams Arcourt, and she uses old fabric book covers which she paints, and images from old books. In fact, all those almost petally things are all book images or painted slips of paper or fabric. I've been following her for a long time, and anyway, so I bought that as an artwork piece, and then I framed it myself. So this frame I bought. I find it like I haven't put spaces in, so I was looking at it this morning thinking, gosh, I really probably ought to put spaces in it, because obviously the glass is touching the artwork there. But anyway, just wanted it up on my wall. How did my thought process go? I think it might have started with the fact that the linen reminded me of the colour of the mount. I don't know how my thought process goes. And then, I don't know, these are the first colours that I bought from Roxy Flosco, like those ones. And I don't know, so yeah, what I have done, it's upside down, it's a picture of the Alps, it's an etching from a book, I think, that she uses. So I guess I keep all my over-dyed threads in a box in the drawer behind me. So I went through with my artwork and I just pulled out all the ones that I felt worked, picked out the colours. So this is what I ended up with on my ring. I mean, that grey is called galvanised, Weeks Dye Works galvanised. I thought that picked out the centre etching, because it's a grey sort of colour. I noticed that there was a pop of red. There's a pop of, well, really quite fluorescent orange and yellow. I pulled out that yellow for a bright yellow, but actually it's too close to that yellow. Anyway, I have been having great fun actually. I went through and I wrote on the tags what in my mind I would use it for. So for instance, that grey, I've written alphabet, because I think that this alphabet around the outside is going to be grey. And I think originally I was going to obviously the picket fence is white. I was going to keep that white. I've decided it's too stark. It doesn't work for me. And because I want them to sit next to each other, I like mixing my pieces in with other stuff. I need it to be more pink. So the sawtooth border I'm doing is actually a very bright pink. Is it? One thing we'll say about that Roxy floss coat is it's got a real sheen to it out there. Can you see? Really quite almost silk-like. Is this cotton? Obviously it was almost silk-like. So the border is going to be pink. There's a flower basket here, quite a big motif here. And originally I was going to do the flowers in the purpley colour, but I took down the picture again yesterday and I thought there is purple in it, but there's very little, so I might just go for more pink. I might just get some more pink in and do the flowers pink up here. And for that pop of orange, I've got, I might do an orange centre in the flower. I don't know. Anyway, it's fun and I am enjoying myself. What it's going to turn out like, I don't know, but it's another one of those things where I just want to do a bit more to see how it works. I think it's going to come together a lot more when I get the curtains and the door in, but I'm uncertain as to the colours there. So I'm going to get some of the other motifs in first before I come back for those sort of finishing bits. But the strawberries give me the pop of red, and the rabbit, oh gosh, the rabbit, I decided to do him in that galvanised with black spots and a black tail. There's a mistake. There's a mistake because in this fence here, in the pattern, I'll tell you this if you're working on it, in case you're like me, there are 2 stitches between each fence post all the way along, apart from there, where there is 1 stitch. So all of this was over here by 1 stitch too much. So there should be a gap of 1 stitch here between the fence and the house, whereas there is a gap of 2 stitches there between the fence and the house. Why? Why would you do that, Brenda? I don't know. Anyway, I'm sure there's a reason. Mine is symmetrical completely, and I never unpick, so I worked out that I just needed to move the tree 1 stitch that way, which is what I've done. And in actual fact it is then symmetrical because the number of stitches between here and here is the same as between here and here. So by moving the tree 1 stitch that way, I'm pointing at the wrong side, aren't I? Because I've done it on this side, sorry. By moving the tree 1 stitch this way, no, 1 stitch that way. Oh God, I don't know. Anyway, it works. I know it's this side because I've just turned the corner here because I want to get the A of the alphabet in just to check my count, just to check the counting here. But anyway, so yeah, a new start. So kind of you, Alison, and she sent a lovely card with it. We have messaged on and off. I know that we've messaged each other while I've been in hospital and stuff. But she sent me a lovely card with it as well, a lovely Hands Across the Sea card, and one of the ones with a little chart on the back as well. Yeah, so kind, and I'm sure you will be seeing that it's giving me so much pleasure. I'm really enjoying the creativity on this one, of doing my own thing. Yeah, so I'm trying not to look at the cover photo. I don't want to be. I really am doing my own thing, and making decisions and changing things as I go. Yeah, fun. So that's in there. So that's been a new start since I last saw you. So I think that's it. That's all the stitching. Gosh, it's a lot. But then it's been a month, hasn't it? Knitting. So again, I've shown this on Instagram. So my goodness me, my coffee is stone cold. My there pullover. I'm really just showing it so that you can see how steeks work, because I really want to crack on with it. I've saved it to show it to you. Right. Can't remember where I was last time. Oh yes, I do remember, because I'd run out of yarn, hadn't I? I'd run out of yarn here somewhere. So I finished this top bit. So I explained last time about the armhole, about casting on some extra stitches so that you could continue to work round and round for ease of knitting and for speed. Okay, and then I mentioned something about the neck, but so I'm very much a visual person, and even I find it helpful to see things. So I hope this is helpful for you to if you are into knitting at all. So I got to where the neck is. So this is the neck line, and I must have cast off, mustn't I? Yes. So you cast off a certain number of stitches, and then you cast on another little steek. So a few more stitches are cast on. And then, just as with the shaping of the armhole here, next to the steek for the neck, there is some shaping here. So this stitch count is going down from here to here. That stitch count is going down because when you get to this part of the pattern, you're doing a decrease, then you go across here, and then you do another decrease, and you go across. So I'm at the stage now where I need to get my scissors, and I cut up the middle there, and I have two armholes, and I also just cut that bit open there, and then you can see that it's going to open up, and then that becomes the neck going up to the shoulders. I've obviously cast off at the centre back. I've got live stitches on here, and I've got live stitches on a thread here, and so those and those will be joined together in a cast off, and then I'll have shoulder seams, and then hopefully it's plain sailing, because I pick up stitches around the neck for my polo neck, and I pick up stitches around here for my balloon sleeves. Now, will it fit? Visually, that looks quite big to me. Maybe it's not. It doesn't look. Yeah, I don't know. I hope that's not too deep. That does seem to fall at my waist, because that I can't try it on, can I? Because there's nowhere for my arms to go. So it's only when I cut it open and get those shoulders done up that I can actually try it on. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with it. It looks good. I will crack on with that now and get that cut open, get the sleeves started, get the neck done, and then I'll be able to start something else. So that is what's in the bag, all done and dusted. What have I been buying? I have been buying stuff actually. As we're talking about knitting, I'll go through quickly the knitting things that I bought. I've got a whole load of project bags lined up here, all ready to go. Again, I posted this on Instagram, but Loop London, which is just such a great knitting shop up in Camden Passage. It was their 20th anniversary a couple of weekends ago, and they did a very generous 20% off of everything for the weekend. I couldn't go. It was a very rainy weekend. I probably wouldn't have gone anyway because it was very rainy and I bet it was super busy. But I did have a look online and I lined up some things that I knew that I would like to buy. Well, first up, I bought two, but this is just one of them. I bought a hank of Spin Cycle yarns. I see people using this yarn. I see people using this yarn for whole projects, but I know that you can use it as if you were doing a colourwork yoke on a sweater. You could just use this, so you've just got one yarn, and because of all those lovely colours and variations, you actually get a really lovely effect just using one yarn. It's really expensive. I think it's £35 a hank, which is really expensive. I don't know how much it costs, where it comes from. Where is it from? It's either Canada or it's America. Grown in the USA, dyed and spun in Washington. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt it is totally gorgeous. But that's a lot of money for 200 yards. It could well be because of it's travelled a long way to get here. But with 20% off, I thought if I'm ever going to try it, now is the time. So I bought this. I bought another one as well, but I have the other one, it's somewhere else. I know what I'm going to do with the other one. I doubt I'll ever buy it again, but we'll see. That was total extravagance, especially because I have sat here in this chair and said about commercial yarns are the way to go because they you don't have dye or issues and things. But then I wouldn't with that because it's just one. Anyway, I bought Snafnug. I have used Drops Air. I have shown a jumper, my Robinia sweater. I can't remember which episode, some time ago. And I've talked about that yarn because that yarn's really cheap because it's Drops and it's alpaca with a man-made, because these are blown yarns, they're blown through that mesh with a man-made mesh, and it's very cheap. But that jumper, if you remember when I spoke about it, has not worn well. It's not pilled, it's fluffed. I've also sat here in another jumper that where I've combined it with another yarn and it hasn't done that, so that's the way forward with that. But anyway, I've never tried this, and this one uses a cotton mesh, so it's all natural products. Look at the colour of that, that is real red. So I bought enough of this, far more reasonably priced, to make a the pattern's called Capo. I haven't printed it off so I can't show it to you, but it's sort of a cross between a tank top and a cape. Anyway, it's been in my Ravelry queue for ages, so I put it in a project bag, and that is what I've been buying there. I have some of this yarn in my stash, so I probably had no right buying this, but I also bought the Retro Natura Ulysses. Oh, lovely colour. This is a new colour called Delphinium. That's showing a little bit brighter there than it is here. It's a little bit more muted when I look at it in real life. And that is going to be an Anchor's cardigan by Petite Knit. Now I've made this before, but I have made this with Isaga Highland wool, which is a very thin wool, and so I completely changed the gauge, and yeah, so it'd be like knitting a completely different garment, because this is more of a I think what is sometimes called a sport weight. Is much thicker, so I'm going to have to do a gauge swatch with that to see what size I need to knit, because when I made this before, I think I made, which size did I make? I don't know what size I made. I haven't made a mark. It will be in my knitting notebook. But I used a completely different yarn like last time. But it's a very wearable cardigan. It's a really enjoyable pattern. This is really lovely yarn. I thought it was a gorgeous colour. And I'll let you know how much it cost. Maybe when because those are all notes that I make in my book. Maybe when I get going on it, but these are all commercial yarns and they all had 20% off, so we're not talking major expensive projects, just fun ones. And then talking of Isaga Highland wool, I'm going to make a quill hat. I have made this hat. I love hats actually. A hat episode may be coming. If you don't know what a hap is a traditional Shetland garment, and it's a shawl, and it has a particular type of construction. And this is a very scruffy looking pattern because I have made this. I've made a giant one like this in Shetland, in Shetland yarn, all natural colours, all brownie colours. You'd find it on my Instagram account if you were interested. But this one, I'm going to do, I'm having a colourful moment. It's going to be, that's the main colour. So it's going to be orange. And then my border is going to be, it's going to go from orange to that colour. And then it's going to go to that colour. And then it's going to go to that colour. And then I've had to, stash. I'm using some stash. That is Holst Super Soft. Can't remember the name of the colour. But I'm going to put a shot of that burgundy colour through it, and then it reverses. So that's the other side. That, and then the border of that. Yeah, nice. And I love knitting them. The centre bit is just simple knitting and then knitting round and round. It's big, that's the only thing. This is about £7 a ball, I think, less than 20%. I can't remember. Anyway, it's a lovely yarn. And as I say, I've made an Anchor's cardigan, which no doubt you'll see me wear one day. So I've got them all in project bags. I don't know which one's going to be next, but they're ready to go when I finish my there. I must finish that first. I don't want to end up on what they call Sleeve Island. I think Sleeve Island is when you've done one sleeve, not the other. That's like Sock Island when you've got one sock. Okay, so that's all the knitting stash, but I've also got some stitching stash. Okay, so I did an order with 123 Stitch. I had a basket for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and stuff came in and stuff came out. I quite like it actually because I do change my mind sometimes. I've got too much stuff, so I feel like my purchases need to be more considered. I actually have a hope of knitting all those things. I don't have a hope of stitching all the things I've got because it takes so much longer. Crazily, I bought some John James needles, size 28. I'm running out of needles, I think I mentioned it before. And they are British needles, and I got them from 123 Stitch because apart from buying them direct from John James, I couldn't actually seem to find anybody in the UK that sold them, and you know, buying just a couple of packets of needles. So I've got some needles. How mad, but anyway, those are the needles that I like. Well, actually, I have a needle that I prefer, but it's been discontinued, so I can't use that one. I bought some fuzzy stuff, courtesy of Katie Strachan and her Father Christmas beards. I don't know if I thought I might put it on my Prairie Schooler 12 Days of Christmas Santas. But I don't know that I will actually. Anyway, I've got it now. So I've got that. And then, courtesy of Elaine, this is your fault, Ellie Stitcher. She showed some Picture This Plus that she bought at 123 Stitch, and I thought, I've never thought about buying Picture This Plus there before. So I bought some, and I bought, oh, actually that's showing exactly, that is exactly what it looks like. It is called French Lilac. Yeah, French Lilac, 36 count. Let's Picture This Plus. Wild. And I also bought Mystic. Now I have an idea for these because I have to check. Charlie, I did comment on your video that when you showed those Barbara Annas, I've never stitched a piece by Barbara Anna, and Charlie was showing charts, and also Jackie Comfort Stitching, she's been doing seasonal girls Barbara Anna. I do like Barbara Anna charts. I actually don't have any that I've bought, but I do have some that I downloaded ages ago, and they're both freebies. One of them, I mean, you may well know what I'm talking about, is a fox holding a lantern. I haven't printed it out, but I will do. And I saw that on that, maybe with a few colour changes. And the other one that I have, which is also a freebie, might get me into Barbara Anna, let's see, is a chicken. You must know them because I'm sure you do know the freebies, and I thought maybe it's a chicken could go on that one. So I could have some colourful. So yeah, well, both of those. Those were really reasonably priced as well, and you know, the postage from the States is reasonable, and you know, when you're buying a few needles you need to buy some other things as well. So I also bought a piece of vellum, Picture This Plus vellum. This is a bigger bit, 36 count, and I think maybe I had my Frisian smalls in mind, but it's quite green. I wasn't expecting green for vellum. Maybe I should have been, I don't know. When you see it there, I mean, it's lovely mottling, as you would expect from Picture This Plus, but yeah, quite green, grey there. So no good for what I thought I would use it for, but you know, it'll get used for something, won't it? I also think that maybe I'd quite like to do 40 count, but that's a rubbish. Now these two are courtesy of Katie Strachan, because she talks about legacy linen a lot. I've used legacy linen once before on a project that I bought from, could have come from Patchwork Rabbit actually, but it would have been years, you know, a few years ago. And I remember when I stitched on it before, I didn't like it. So I should listen to myself, shouldn't I? Because Katie's always going on about how fabulous it is and all the colours and everything. And that's another thing we can't really get here. So I was on 123 Stitch and I thought, right, I'm going to give it a go, another go. So I ordered, they're all in yards, aren't they? An 1/8 yard, 38 count Wayfarer's cloak. And I also ordered the same size of Cloister Cream, which is that one. Now the reason I don't like them, and I remember now I didn't like them, is they're very stiff. Maybe they soften up when you use them, but I had something in mind that I don't think will work on it because it's just too stiff. But you know, you've got to give these things a try, haven't you? And there's no doubt the colours are great. Very subtle difference between them. This one you can see is well, we used to call it shot. Used to call it shot silk when I worked selling silk. I don't know what it's called really, when you have the warp and the weft of different colours anyway. Whereas that one is plain. And then I bought some charts. I bought a Spot the Cat. These are both ones that I've wanted for a long time, but prices are very good. And I thought, well, and I also bought a Spot the Horse, because I think they look great together, which is strange, isn't it, because they're different designers. And I was going, yeah, this is what I was thinking, but you're not going to make a really lovely bag, because I do the bag out of this stiff fabric, so I might have a rummage and check, and I'll probably yeah, pull out the colours and do similar colours so they're like a pair somehow. Like them. Don't know that I'll do the steaming manure. Maybe I will. It's quite funny. I'm assuming that's what it is anyway. Anyway, so yeah. There we go. Bought those two. And then I bought a big chart. I have no right buying big charts, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love an Adam and Eve, and this is just the most fabulous Adam and Eve. Can you see them? They are wild Adam and Eves. Ooh. I would rechart this actually, because I don't want all those words. I mean, I don't want to stitch all those words, but I don't want all those words either. But I'm loving my parrot leopard line, and this is putting me, you know, it puts me in mind. It's all that era, isn't it? I don't know what year. Oh, 1790. This one, I think parrot leopard line might be earlier than that. So I see that disappearing, the angels dropping down, something happening here, maybe the curtains staying, maybe the curtains going, but it being, I will do something different with it. But I couldn't resist that Adam and Eve. The original ones are on the back there. There's more Adam and Eve to come actually. I've got one to show in a minute of a previous finish. Adam and Eve. So that was my Stitchy haul. And I'm delighted actually. I know I said that the linen is a bit stiff, but you know, I'm pleased with what I bought, and I'm pleased with those charts, and pleased with my haul, full stop. That's the most I've bought in a long time. So we're nearly, look, it's empty. Well, I don't know if you can see it, it's nearly empty. There's nearly nothing left to talk about. You'll be pleased to know. Oh, this is buying as well actually. I bought something for my collar box, so this is my little collar box segment that I had out last time, put out again this time. I talked about my collar box and how to, what goes in it and how to stop everything rattling around inside, and I've decided to stop things rattling around inside. You just need to fill it, lots of stuff. So last time I mentioned about thinking, oh, I need to have a tape measure. So I bought a tape measure. I bought the most impractical tape measure you can ever imagine, but it's totally beautiful. And because it's totally beautiful and very precious, I made a little bag for it to go in as well. So, if you remember, that piece of 46 count oak from Northumberland Sampler House has found its way in there, because I'm going to make a scissor something or other with that. Let me just remind you. So I know I showed it last time, but I actually put some pins. Oh, yeah, it's just lavender. You can smell it when you open the box. I put some pins in my pin pillow. If you remember, I made a little quilted base. Actually, I know I showed it last time with my funny fish on the back. And so, so I had, obviously I've got a big piece of this fabric, so I took a piece of this fabric, another piece of ribbon left over from, it's over there, I can't reach it, the velvet strawberries. I've shown them before, my velvet strawberries. I kept all the little bits and pieces that were left over. So this is a little tiny case that I made out of a piece of the fabric, just hand stitched it. It's totally impractical, totally impractical. And this is my tape measure. So it's a vintage one. And it's an apple. It's just, I do love old bits like this. This on this side. It's all in inches. The end piece here has rusted. I was looking at it last night actually. I've taken it off. I need to get Steve to do some things to it. It's a little bit twisted and a little bit rusty. I'm going to get him to flatten it, and I need to re-sew it on the end there. And I need to make sure I do that because you wind it back in by turning the stem at the top, and it would be a disaster if the little metal piece at the end here came off, because you could actually end up turning it and the tape could disappear inside, and you can't open that up. It's a sealed, you know, you'd have to break it in order to get it open. So I'm really conscious that that is a job that I need to get him to do, to make sure that that is something that can't happen. Then I'll re-stitch it back on again. The first inch mark is a little way into the tape, so I can do that. But yeah, I bought it and I thought, oh, that's going to look so great in my box because it is the colouring. But actually, I don't really want it bashing around in there, rolling around. And I can't imagine that, you know, if I was somewhere and I just need to double check the measurement or something, you know, it doesn't take much to take it out. So I thought, I'll make something to put it in. So I made this little drawstring bag. Yeah, a bit of leftover ribbon which I tied in a bow because it's all about pretty. So something else for my cod box, and something that I bought. That's that. Oh, something from the diorama. So this is a previous finish, and one of my favourite ever, actually, and it's Adam and Eve. And it's a little set of bits. It's Blackbird Designs. I did it in 2020. And it's from a booklet called, I think the booklet was called Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day? I think that's what the booklet was called. It was actually something that I intended to give to somebody who, a friend on Instagram, who couldn't get Blackbird Design charts where she lives, on the other side of the world. And so when I stitched it and finished it, I said to her, well, you can have it. I'll never stitch it again. I'm very happy to send it to you because I have received lovely stitchy kindness myself, and it's nice to give back. I'm very happy to send it to you, which I did, and it never arrived. So whatever happened to it, obviously neither of us know. It didn't make its way back to me, and it never made its way to her. so I don't have the chart, and neither does she. But this is it. So that was the main stitched piece. It was a all taken from an old original sampler. This is not a reproduction, this was an adaptation that they did. I've dated it, you can see 2020. I can see an S, so I put my initial on it. I absolutely love it, and I absolutely love the Adam and Eve. I love how Amazonian Eve looks. Look how strong she is, and look at that little dumpy Adam. The 21st century part of me likes to think that the girls were making a statement when they made their women look so strong and their men look so not. Look at him, he's much shorter than she is as well. I love it. It just brings a smile to my face. I love things that make me smile, as we all do. So that was the main piece. And then also in the booklet was a pin pillow, which I also made. This was another motif from the original sampler. This I backed with some old, this would be Lady Dot's Create velvet. Look, it looks really faded. That's not faded because I don't have sunlight in the house. That's the aging of the dyeing of the linen, of the velvet. So it's a great piece of velvet on the back. And that's got a year thing on it, look. That's a button from a cardigan that I was knitting at the time. And that is 2021, so I also did that the following year. And I mean, at the moment they're in different places, but before I have displayed them together, this stands on a plate stand rather than hangs. And this is in a bowl of goodies over there. And then I also did the two little mattress finishes, mainly because one of them was Eve, and I couldn't resist doing Eve again because she's so fab. And the other one was a little dog and a basket. All in linen. They'll all be stuffed with sawdust because that's what I use. And a bit of. I mean, I don't have the book. I guess I just followed the finishing instructions. I don't know if I did that or whether that's what it said. I know that they were finished as mattresses. What I mean is the herringbone thing around the top. I don't know if that was me or the instructions. So a little set there, and then absolutely one of my favourites. It's a great house. They don't have to be big pieces, do they, to give you a lot of pleasure. I remember stitching that. That was a holiday stitch. Right. Oh, I knocked. Did I knock you? I think I might have done. There. Is that it? Yes. I'm finding it incredibly difficult to give things away. Loretta, you haven't sent me your address. You did comment how delighted you were to win the chart in the giveaway, but I don't know where to send it. I would love to send it to you. So if you could just remember to send me your address, you can just email me, Sarah with an H at penelopespocket.co.uk with your address so that I can send it to you. I'd love to be able to get it out in the post. And the lady that won the Sajou thread winder that I've been trying to give away for months now has also not been in touch. So if you watched this episode and you didn't watch the last one, and you know that you did comment on the Sajou one that you would love to win the thread winder, just nip back to episode 8, fast forward to the end and see if you were the winner, and then you can contact me and give me your address, and I can send them out, because I still can't give them away. And one final thing, I thought I'd tell you, because some of you may be interested, so please switch me off now if you're not. A quick health update. So I did speak in one episode. I think I was probably feeling a bit down in that episode about how I hadn't been well with my liver function, and it was beginning to become apparent to us, to Steve and I, that it was the medication that I was on for my fungal infection the one that's particularly nasty and has had me in ICU a few times, that was causing problems with the liver function, and that as a result I wasn't getting the treatment that I needed for the breast cancer, because they felt that maybe it was the breast cancer treatment causing it. The problem is that I don't think anybody else is going through treatment for very serious fungal infection, breast cancer and acute myeloid leukemia all at the same time. So it's uncharted territory. And they must communicate with each other. But there's no research. I think I am the research. And yes, chemotherapy affects your liver. Yes, the drug that I was taking also affects your liver. Who knows what they do together? Who knows if both of them together do something else? Nobody. Well, apart from me, maybe. Anyway, I think at that time I was sort of feeling not so bad, but obviously couldn't get the treatment, and that's worrying when you don't get the treatment that you feel you need. Anyway, I stopped taking the medication for the fungal infection. There is a test that they can do to see what the levels of, I can't remember what it's called, this is Steve's department, he does all the research, and that test came back normal twice. And I thought, well, if I don't have it, why am I taking it? They want me to take it because when you have chemotherapy, it lowers your immunity, and the fungal infection is very serious. And so I thought it was phenomenally rare. I think one of the reasons it's phenomenally rare is because if you get it, you are probably going to die. I think it's got a 90% mortality rate. So I think that's what makes it rare. It's because you don't see the other side of it. So I've been amazingly lucky, strong, somebody smiling on me, I don't know. Anyway, I'm still here. And I think that's what's worried them, that if my immunity is affected, it could come back and then it's serious. So it's been my decision, and I've stopped taking it. Now, as a result, I have now had chemotherapy for the breast cancer 4 weeks on the trot, and that has not happened in all the time that I've been having treatment, because there's always been some other issue that has stopped it from happening with my liver or something. And ironically, as a result, I've been feeling really rubbish, because chemotherapy makes you feel pretty rubbish. But my bloods deny that fact, because my bloods are amazing. And bearing in mind your blood comes from your bone marrow, my bone marrow is working excellently, and I have all the readings that, you know, when I was seriously ill were so bad, are all sky high, better than normal. So on paper I'm fantastic. In reality I am feeling, it's really difficult to describe. I'm sure many people out there watching me know people having chemotherapy or have experienced it. It is difficult to describe because it's not ill in any way that you've experienced before. It's just, I just use the word rubbish. I just feel rubbish. I can be a bit snappy with my family because I don't feel great. I can be tired. I can end up sleeping. I think one day this week I lost through sleep. I just went to bed for 20 minutes and the next thing I knew it was 5 hours later. Yeah, but also as a result of having treatment 4 weeks on the trot, I've got 2 weeks left. So after all this time, I have 2 more treatments left. I have everything crossed that I have treatment next week and the week after. And that is the end of my chemotherapy for the breast cancer. And then I move on to radiotherapy for breast cancer. So it's the next step along the line. And that is an amazing feeling. So take my word for it, you do get there in the end. You do get to the end of it. And it was quite a surprise as well, because it's all taken such a long time, because so many weeks it got cancelled or delayed. that when they actually said this is the last cycle, I was like, is it really? And I need to decide where I want to go for the radiotherapy, because living close to London, I'm very lucky I have a choice. There's 2 different hospitals I can go to, so I can choose, because you have to go every day for 3 weeks, so it's quite a commitment going for radiotherapy. So yeah, that's a bit of a health update. So not feeling great. My taste buds, everything just tastes horrible. Poor Steve cooks me all these things. I take one mouthful and shudder. But you know, you've got to eat. But the chemotherapy for the breast cancer is coming to an end. As far as the leukemia goes, I am on an oral chemotherapy. I have to do 2 weeks of this oral tablet, and then I have 2 weeks off. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I'm feeling that might be a permanent thing unless I'm able to have a bone marrow transplant, and that isn't very nice. So that is the rumbling tummy. Oh dear me, does it upset my tummy. I've just finished my 2-week course, so I've got 2 weeks respite now, so hopefully my tummy will get back to normal, and I will feel more confident leaving the house. Yes, again, I don't know, because nobody has done this before. Nobody has had the treatment that I'm having for breast cancer, all those agents alongside the other one that I'm taking orally. Who knows what both of them together are doing to my constitution? Well, I know it's not good. It would be really nice to finish the chemotherapy for the breast cancer and then just be on the oral one. I'll show my husband the packet of these tablets that I have to take 1 a day, and on the outside in big letters it says caution, highly toxic, handle with care. And I said to him, look at that, I have to eat that. I have to eat one every day for 2 weeks, even though at the end of the 2 weeks I'm thinking I don't want to be taking this anymore. Anyway, there we go. There's a health update for you. And if you've been following me on Instagram through all my trials and tribulations, or you've only just kept up with me here, I hope you can see that that is amazing progress. That even though I'm sat here saying I'm not feeling great, I'm nearly there. It's coming to an end, and they're very lovely in the hospital, and they keep, because you worry, don't you? It's in the back of your mind, you worry, and they keep saying to me, Sarah, it's all preventative. You've had your mastectomy, they have removed it. Everything that we do is just preventative to try and make sure it doesn't come back. So I embrace that thought, and that is my health update. I might come back a bit sooner next time. I would really like to make some Isabel bags. I might do like a little update. But yes, if not, and if it's another 3 weeks or so, I could well actually have finished the treatment, and yeah, that would be a real milestone for me after all this time, because it's been a very long process. Anyway, enough about that. That's it. I think I've covered everything. I talked about those things that had influenced me, what I've been buying and everything. Yeah, that's it. Oh my goodness, I've gone over 2 hours. Right, goodbye everybody. See you next time.